Hannah as the gate woman to Tony for few months, and it has not been easy fit. Tony is a Casanova who changes women like he does with his boxers. Every day Tony brings in new girl, and after sleeping with them, Tony asks his gate woman to sack them without paying them. Sometimes he pays them, but the rituals continues by making sure the Hannah as the security officer sack or push the women out of the house. Tony came back with a huge, fat and sexy woman to his house, and secretly told Hannah to get ready to push her out of the house immediately she is done. Hannah got scared immediately she saw how huge this particular lady was. After Tony and Joyce were done, he called Hannah to come for her part. Hannah tried, but Joyce carried Hannah out of the room. Shortly after, Joyce told Tony that she has come to stay and they are officially dating. Tony became shocked and worried. Joyce decided to find food, but there was nothing. She cooked and tried to feed Tony, but he refused to eat. Tony called Hannah to help him push Joyce out, but she refused because her waist was broken from the push and carrying that Joyce did not her. That night, Joyce slapped with Tony forcefully and he started losing his strength. Tony wants to run, but he could not because Joyce have now decided to lock the door to the room. Joyce called Hannah that she has locked her boss and she is now her new madam of the house. Hannah was confused but also happy because his boss is now learning from his wayward life. After few days, Joyce told Tony she was going home to bring her belongings to the house. Joyce also gave warnings to Hannah not to move maid because she will not be happy with her. Finally, before Joyce left, she warned Tony about his notorious brother who can beat him up if he misbehaves. Joyce left the house. Tony immediately went to meet Hannah and tried to come up with a plan to push Joyce away. Tony came up with a solid plan, which is for Hannah to act as his wife. Hannah refused the offer initially but agreed to do only the grounds of being paid. Hannah asked Tony to pay her for this acting she is about to do. Also because she's a gate woman, not an actress. Hannah mentioned a huge amount, but Tony refused to pay exactly that. Tony negotiates the amount which fitted Hannah needs and she agreed. Tony came up with this idea because Joyce said she doesn't like to break home. She doesn't date or mingle with married men or people's boyfriend. Hannah told Tony that hope his plan works out because Joyce is more than a tiger, and if it doesn't work, he should be ready to marry Joyce. Tony went out to get a new security guard, calmly Joe. Well, Joe came in with fully muscle body and was ready to do his job diligently. Tony came calling for a makeup artist to do a makeover for Hannah. Hannah immediately wished she was a makeup artist so she'd do the makeup herself. After everything, Tony and Hannah started practicing how they will present themselves as a couple to Joyce. Several hours passed. Hannah and Tony practiced their storylines and speeches. Joe on the outside was doing his incantations to prove he is the perfect man for the job. Later that night, Joyce came in with her boxes of clothes. Joyce saw Joe and recognized him as one of the boys who came to rob her friend's shop. And the police have been looking for some of the boys, including Joe. Joyce immediately started bullying him and asked him to kneel down, crawl and roll on the floor. Joe is so scared of Joyce and was scared she will call the police on him. Joe promised to serve her as she please. Joe became too soft and humble. Tony and Hannah heard the noise and came out holding hands as a couple. They were dumbfounded to find out that Joe was not as strong and commanding as they thought. They got scared themselves as how Joyce could humble the muscle Joe. Then Joyce turned to surprisedly see Tony and Hannah glued to each other as a couple. Joyce wanted to enter the house, but they blocked her and told her that they are back at the couple they used to be. Tony told Joyce that he is engaged to Hannah a long time, but because she is local and uneducated, he was not proud of her. Hence why she was his gate woman. Hannah also agreed to such story, saying because Tony was taking care of her siblings in the village. Tony is taking care of her family expenses and being engaged to him was because of that. But now they both decided to work out together on their marriage. Joyce didn't believe it, but Hannah and Tony shared a kiss and holding each other tightly to prove they are married. Joyce believed it now and promised to leave Tony alone for real this time, because she believes every couple deserves happiness and not destruction. Joyce tells Hannah to call her anytime Tony brings in another woman or he pushed her to be a gate woman again. Why will Tony treat her badly for being a good wife to him? Hannah agreed and thanked Joyce for changing Tony to be a good man for her. Joyce left and Hannah and Tony went into the room as Tony started celebrating how the plans were perfect. Hannah was ready to collect her money as promised by Tony. Next day, Tony was delaying the payment and Hannah was not having it, so she reminded her boss. Tony reminded Hannah how she wanted to learn how to do makeup. He promised to send her to makeup school and Hannah was very happy about it. Hannah started her makeup class and was doing well. She also started cooking for Tony and doing the house chores. Tony started falling in love with Hannah. After becoming a makeup artist, Hannah was ready to leave and become her own boss with the money she was supposed to collect from Tony. This was when Tony realized he has fallen in love with Hannah because he was missing her already. Tony called Hannah for a quick meeting and reveals to Hannah that he is in love with her. Hannah was shocked and ran out to her room and locked the door. Next day, Hannah was avoiding her boss, but that did not prevent Tony from approaching her again about his love. Hannah did not take Tony seriously and went to Joe to have a conversation with him. As Hannah was chatting with the gate man, Tony walked in and called Hannah away from Joe. He warned Hannah not to have close friendship with the gate man because she is like the madam of the house. Tony continued to persuade Hannah about his intentions and also started buying her gifts. Tony has also stopped calling other women and started to prove that he is now a changed man. Hannah talked to herself about the situation and realized she also liked Tony. Hannah went to Tony and told him that she likes him too and accepts his relationship proposal. Tony jumped out of excitement and hugs Hannah. They became official and Joe was happy for them. Hannah and Tony called Joyce to share the good news and make some confessions. When Joyce came, they told her they now officially dating and the last time was a lie. They did that because Tony wanted her out of his house. Joyce was happy for them but was also surprised. Joyce also confessed that she doesn't know any cartel in the city or any gang members. The guy she claims is her brother, she doesn't even know him. She just uses his name to scare people and calls for authorities at places that she thinks wants to control her or take advantage of her. Joyce apologizes to Tony on she maltreated him in his own house and how she used a cartel name to scare him. Tony was so shocked she did that to him. Tony also asked her if she has ever met the cartel. Joyce laughed out loud and told them that she doesn't even know how any of the cartel members looks like. She used their name because people in the city are scared of the name and this has helped in vulnerable situations. While Hannah said at least she was able to make Tony become a better man, so it was for a good cause. They all laughed about the whole lying situations and knows that they are all in a better place in each other's life. They took a drink and cheers to a better relationship and friendship among themselves. Thanks for watching this recap. This channel brings you the best Nollywood movies. We save you time and money. Don't forget to subscribe and like our videos for more movie recap.